Break the board sports. Here we go. College football Friday night. We got 4 games on the slate. Click that like, hit subscribe. We're going to give you all the trends and angles to help you become a better handicapper, whether you fade or follow. Hopefully, we give you enough good information you make your own picks. Again, click that like for us. Going to work our way backwards. So we're going to start with the nightcap in this one. Features North Carolina at Cal. Now, North Carolina, all kinds of problems with Belichick and company not looking good there in North Carolina. Cal, they've kind of been up and down as far as their season has gone. Right now, Cal's laying 10. Your over-under's 47.5. 71% of tickets, 64% of the handle going to the Cal Golden Bears. Only 29% of tickets and 36% of the handle going to UNC. That over-under now got some discrepancy here. 57% of bets going to the over, but only 24% of that money going there. So again, that tells me more than likely when you have a high ticket count, low dollar amount, tends to be the public. Low ticket amount, high dollar amount tends to be the pros. Not always, but most of the time that's the way it ends up going. 43% of tickets, 76% of the money to the under in this one. Looking at some trends for this game, North Carolina obviously 2-6 over their last 8 and 2-7 ATS their last 9. 3-7 against the spread is California over their last 10. So neither team has been really good at covering the spread. Cal's been even worse at home, 1-4 against the spread over their last 5 games. The under seems to be the way to go for both of these teams. Cal has cashed the under 4 of their last 5 games. The under is cashed 6 of the last 7 for the Tar Heels when they're on the road. And the under is cashed 4 of the last 6 overall for North Carolina. When you look over these two teams, as far as some other trends that could help you make money, North Carolina, they've hit the game total under 7 of the last 11 games. You'd be up 3.7 units, about a 31% return on your investment. If you're looking at a first quarter over-under, if you're looking to the under, that's cashed 4 of the last 5 games on the road, the first quarter game under. Right now, you can find a 10 out there at Bet365 and at Caesars. If you're looking for North Carolina team total, they've cashed that 4 of their last 5 games. If you have been following that trend, you're up 2.86 units, a 51% return on your investment. Cal, their team total under has cashed 3 of their last 5 games, put you up 0.75 units. If you're looking for Cal in the money line on the first half, right now you got lay $3. Don't ever really want to lay that. That's way too much juice. But that's only hit 5 of the last 12. If you've been betting Cal to win the first half on the money line, you'd be down 11.85 units, down 41% ROI. Could definitely see North Carolina here plus 260. Typically, the way sports goes is when you hear a lot of chatter one way and think that somebody's dead, they're kind of like Freddy Krueger here in the holiday season of Halloween. They end up coming back to life. If you can find a 10.5, I would roll with the North Carolina Tar Heels. Look, I know it's an ugly dog, right? I get that, but Cal's nothing special. And I'd also look at the under 47.5 here. The under 47.5 would be live. As I'm looking through, there's a couple 48s out there. If you can find a 48, I'd definitely take that. We're actually going to make that a play under 48 in this game. But I like North Carolina to keep this thing close and hang in there. So North Carolina plus 10.5 is a lean, but an official play on North Carolina under 48. Let's go to the next game that I absolutely love, San Jose State at Utah State. Now, Utah State's laying 3. They're getting 54% of the bets compared to 46% of the bets for San Jose State. And the money, not that much difference. Utah State getting 60% of the handle, San Jose State 40. You're over under 63.5. 46% of bets and 56% of the handle to the over. 54% of bets and 44% of the handle to the under in this one. San Jose State 5-10 against the spread their last 15 games. And more importantly, Utah State 5-1 ATS their last 6. Utah State also 5-0 ATS at home. I had them last week at Hawaii. You had a 1-point game, and then they totally fell apart. That fourth quarter, Hawaii 17-0 blew them out of the water. But look, here's the thing with San Jose State and Utah State. The last 8 times they've met, Utah State 7-1 ATS against San Jose State. They've absolutely owned them from an ATS standpoint. Now, looking at over-unders, I get why a lot of people are on the over. It's cash for the last 5 times for San Jose State in their games. More importantly, for Utah State, under new head coach Bronco Mendenhall, 13 of their last 16 games have went over the total. Just unbelievable there. And head-to-head, 5 of the last 6 games have went over the total in this series between Utah State and San Jose State. When you dig a little deeper, as far as Utah State comes in 3-3, but they're 5-1 ATS. Their only ATS loss coming last week to the Rainbow Warriors of Hawaii. San Jose State 2-4 straight up, 3-3 ATS. These two teams last played in 2023. Last year was the first year they hadn't played in a while. And San Jose State won that game 42-21. But again, this Utah State team looks much different under head coach Bronco Mendenhall, bringing a lot of those people from New Mexico with him, a lot of those transfers. More importantly, San Jose State, we talked about them losing 7 of the last 8 ATS to Utah State. Well, Utah State's also won 9 of the last 10 meetings outright against San Jose State, which is just incredible. Utah State at home over their last 10, they've won 5 in a row, and their ATS record 7-3, and they've 5-0 against the spread, like we just talked about. ATS on the road for San Jose State, they're 7-3, but things kind of change here a little bit as a home favorite. Utah State 7-3 against the spread. As a road dog, San Jose State 8-2 ATS, but just 2-8 straight up. The way I look at it, and this is one of my favorite plays of the week, Utah State a little high there, $1.60 on the money line, but I put a double unit on them. I think Utah State bounces back here. Obviously, you got altitude and stuff like that San Jose State's going to have to deal with. I like Utah State in this bounce back spot. Give me the Aggies, laying $1.60 for a double unit on the money line. Click that like, hit subscribe. Let's go to our next one. Nebraska and Minnesota. Dylan Raiola and company coming in for Nebraska, ranked 25th in the country, 5-1 straight up, 2-4 ATS. Minnesota 4-2 straight up, 1-4-1 against the spread. Right now, Nebraska laying 7 in the hook. Your over-under is 47.5. Now, totally even when it comes to over-under. 75% of the tickets and 75% of the handle both going to the over. 25% of tickets and 25% of the handle going to the under 47.5. Now, the spread. 44% of tickets going to the visiting Cornhuskers, laying 7.5. 26% of the money going with Nebraska. So a little higher ticket count, a little lower money. But then 56% of bets and 74% of the handle going to Minnesota. Now, we said here about 24 hours, a little more than 24 hours out from this game. And again, I always say this, earlier in the week, you see a whole lot more pro betting. You see the public come in day of game or a few hours before the game, and that really starts to sway the market a little bit. Nebraska, 2-4 ATS over their last 6, but 6-1 straight up over their last 7. Minnesota, kind of the same boat. Haven't been really good against the spread. 1-5 against the spread their last 6, but 6-2 straight up their last 8. More importantly, Minnesota has proven to be one of the toughest places in the country to play. 6-1 straight up their last 7. However, head-to-head, Minnesota has won 5 straight meetings. We'll get back to that in a second. Your over-under between these two teams, the over-under has went to the under. 4 of the last 5 games in this matchup has went to the under. Now, going back, we said Minnesota had won 5 straight against Nebraska. Last time they played 2023, 13-10, and then 20-13, 30-23, 24-17. So these teams tend to play each other a little bit tighter. Obviously, Big Ten rivalry. But Nebraska in a good spot. This would be a big win. I know Minnesota is not a big program and all that stuff, but this would be a really good win for Nebraska and something that could help them down the line poll-wise. For Minnesota to be a big upset, Nebraska's got to make sure they don't stumble here with some bigger competition ahead of the road. Nebraska has covered the first half spread 9 of the last 12 games. Right now, they're laying 4.5 in the first half, but that first half spread has cashed 9 of the last 12. If you've been following that, you're up 5.6 units, about a 40% return on your investment. For Minnesota, the first half game total over has hit 8 of the last 12, 66% there. If you've been following that, you'd be up 4.65 units, a 34% return on your investment. Right now, that first half game total over is setting at 23.5. So if you think you can get a 14-10 matchup and take the over, you can hit that. We talked about Nebraska being more of an over team, Dylan Raiola and company. They've hit their team total over in 5 straight games. If you had been playing their team total over, you'd be up 5 units, 83% return on your investment. Now, Minnesota, we talked about their home streak. They've won 4 of their last 5 at home. If you'd been taking a money line, you'd be up 3 units and 19%. But right now, whole lot of value on the Golden Gophers, plus 240 on the money line if you were to take them to upset the Nebraska Cornhuskers in this game. Last 10, hop into that. Straight up at home, Minnesota 8-2, as to where on the road, Nebraska 4-6. However, Nebraska as a straight up road favorite, 8-2, but just 4-5-1 as a road favorite ATS. Straight up as a dog, 2-8 is Minnesota. But when they're straight up as a home dog, just a little bit better, but still not at 500, 4-6, but they are 5-3-2 ATS. When I look at this, I'm going to go ahead and punch my ticket, take the Minnesota Golden Gophers +7 in the hook, +7.5 on Friday night. So Utah State -160 on the money line for a double unit. Also going to take the under 48 in the Cal North Carolina game for a single unit, and Minnesota +7.5 for a single unit. Click that like, hit subscribe. At least 4 pieces of content, 1 on every sport, giving you the best trends and angles. Let's get into the mother of them all Friday night. Number 2, Miami, which is clearly the second best team in the country, in my opinion, behind Ohio State. Playing Louisville. Louisville coming off the bye. Now, Louisville had that little hiccup there with Virginia, but right now, 13.5 is the line. And if you like the dog, I'd say wait. I think it touches 14, maybe 14.5 by Friday night kickoff. If you like Miami, I get in now. It's not going to go down. It's only going to go up. But right now, Miami laying 13.5. You're over under 50.5. 90% of the money is on the under, but only 22% of the tickets. That tells me the under is the way to go. 78% of tickets, but only 10% of the handle to the over. Public sees Miami. You see Carson Beck. They think, easy over. Not so fast, my friends, as Lee Corso would say. Wait, see if you get a 51 and then take that under. But that's going to be a wait and see. Let's talk about the 13.5. And there's a couple 14s, especially offshore, that are presenting themselves now. Again, you always need multiple betting outlets. 71% of tickets and 67% of the handle is on the U. 29% of tickets, 33% of the handle is on the Louisville Cardinals. Louisville 1-4 ATS their last 5, but they're 5-1 straight up their last 6 on the road, and 7-1 straight up their last 8 overall. Miami's on a 5-game winning streak, and they're 4-1 ATS their last 5. But between these two teams, the over is cashed for the last 5 games, and the over, which I understand why a lot of people are taking it, Miami's more of an over team. They've cashed the over 13 of their last 20 games has the Miami Hurricanes. Again, Miami 5-0 straight up, 4-1 ATS. Louisville comes in 4-1 straight up, 1-4 ATS. Now, last year these two teams played in Louisville. Miami won a thriller, 52-45, winning by 7. The year before that, in 2023, down in Miami, Louisville repaid the favor, 38-31. They won by 7. So now, the past 2 years, this game's been decided by 7 points, and now the spread's all the way up to 2 touchdowns. Gives me reason to pause. When you look a little deeper offensively, Louisville averaging 404 yards per game. Miami, just a tick better, 425 yards per game. Louisville's defense giving up 262 yards per game. Their defense, about 14 yards a game better, as Miami giving up 276. Offensively, Louisville averaging 36 points per game. Miami, 35 points per game. Now, the Louisville Cardinals, they're averaging 21 points or their defense giving up 21 points per game. Miami's giving up 13.6. So about 7 points better, which that's where the game has been decided the past 2 years by 7 points. I think this line being 14 is way out of hand. I'm going to play Louisville plus 14 here for a single unit. If you wait, get a 14.5 for buy the hook to -$1.20. Can't hate you for that. But Louisville plus 14 is going to be the play for us. So just to recap, under 48 for a single unit in the North Carolina-Cal game. Utah State on the money line, -$1.60 for a double unit. We're going to take the Minnesota Golden Gophers plus 7.5 for a single unit. And give me another dog. Give me Louisville plus 14. I'm your host, RJ Cash. Click that like, hit subscribe. God bless and happy handicap.